Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and in this video we will talk about my experience with iPhone 11 Pro for last 1 month. Yes, I've been using this iPhone 11 Pro as my primary phone for 1 month now, or it's even more than 1 month. And in this video I will share my experience with this iPhone 11 Pro Max, no sorry, iPhone 11 Pro. Because this is my first iPhone as my primary phone. I have used my older iPhones like the iPhone SE I was using prior to this, but that was as my secondary phone. But now after getting this iPhone 11 Pro, I'm using this phone as my primary phone, just to see the difference between how the operating system is there with the Android and how the ecosystem is there for Apple. So if you guys are following me, then you might be knowing that I am a kind of Samsung user, more to a Samsung user rather comparing to other phones. Yes, I have used some other Android phones like your Google Pixel or OnePlus, but still I have used more Samsung phones comparing to the other brands. So I am into those ecosystem where the display looks punchier, or the display I have used those 2K displays, because prior to this I was using the Galaxy Note 8, which is having a brilliant display, that is a 2K display with a great camera, with output is kind of a saturated output, which not even more saturated, but yes, in Samsung phones if you are taking pictures, then you will be getting kind of a more enhanced colored pictures. So I was into those kind of ecosystem where the 2K display, the cameras, multi-cameras, like the Note 8 has 2 camera. So coming from those ecosystem like the 2K displays, because here we are getting just a 1080p display, and the camera 3 camera setup is there. Here I'll be talking about this thing in this video. So first thing first, let's talk about the display of this phone. Talking about the display of this phone, this is having a 1080p display, which is and this 5.8 inch LED panel, AMOLED panel, which Samsung has made this panel for Apple. As you can see, I've kept this wallpaper. This is kind of a forest wallpaper. Yeah, it's a forest wallpaper, you can see. And if we compare this phone with the Samsung phones and talking about the display, then definitely Samsung has the better display, because those are having 2K panels, and this is having just a 1080p display. So comparing to this, Samsung phones are having better displays. But don't get me wrong guys, if you are using this phone, then you won't notice that this display is bad or something, because this is not a bad display. Only the thing is that if you are comparing this to a Samsung phone side by side, then you will be knowing the difference. And other than that, this display is a good display, and this is a 1080p display as I mentioned previously. So I don't have any issue with this display. Only thing is that it took some time for me to get adjusted here, because I was into those AMOLED panels, Super AMOLED panels from Samsung, where I used to get the 2K panels, and watching the YouTube videos and all, you can see the difference that in Samsung phones you will be getting kind of more sharper videos output, and some punchier colors. So only the difference between Samsung panels and this panel. So that is one thing I noticed. And next thing is talking about the design. Yeah, you can see this is having the same notch which was there in iPhone 10 when Apple introduced the first iPhone 10 with this cutout display, or the edge this one, the notch display. And yeah, it's kind of now outdated, because all the companies are having full display and all. So I feel that Apple has to work on this, on the design side, because it's been 3 years now we are seeing the same design from Apple. That is another issue from the design aspect, because if you're comparing this with the Galaxy S10 or Note 10, Note 10 Plus, or even the new Pixels, though those are not in India, but yeah, if we compare the design, definitely you can see that this notch is kind of an outdated one. and it's almost covering the half of the display on the top. But if you are using this phone for 1 or 2 days, then you will be used to it for the display notch and all. I don't have any issue with this display notch. Only the concern is that, yeah, if the other companies can move to a full display punch hole camera or in-display fingerprint sensor and all, then why not Apple? Apple has to work on this. Next thing, let's talk about the camera. Yeah, you can see this is having the triple camera setup, and this phone is having the best camera in 2019. Yeah, the Google Pixel is still there, but only the problem is that Google Pixel gives you a kind of more contrast picture, but this gives a flat kind of image where you can edit those photos. But comparing to the camera, definitely this is the best camera in a smartphone in 2019. It's having the wider angle lens, which I'm using. It's having the normal lens, which I'm using as well, and it's having a telephoto lens, which I'm not using as much as I use that wider angle and the normal lens. But yes, you are getting these options, 3 options, like your wider angle camera and the normal camera as well as the telephoto lens. And this phone is having the dedicated night mode, so you can take brilliant pictures at night also. I have taken some good pictures with this phone, and yeah, talking about the camera, this phone is having a great camera. And this is having the 60 fps 4K 60 fps video recording capacity, which Pixel doesn't have. And you will be getting typical Apple interface for the camera, though I think it's a high time that Apple should move to the manual mode. This phone doesn't have a manual mode. That is the only problem. You are getting a brilliant camera, but you are not getting the manual mode where you can control those cameras according what you want. That is another problem with the camera. But the camera interface is very basic, but the output of this camera are brilliant. So if you are looking for a phone which is having a good camera, then definitely I can recommend this one to you guys. Next, coming to the battery life, yeah, as I'm coming from Samsung phones usually don't have good battery lives, and the Galaxy Note 8, which I was using previously, that has a pathetic battery life because it's having a very small battery. But this phone is having a good battery. For my typical uses, it can easily last me for a full working day. This phone is having a good battery, and anyways, these phones are having 1080p display, so the battery consumption is very less. And the iOS optimization with the iOS 13, previously when they released the iOS 13, it was kind of a laggy, where we have seen the battery drain issue and all, but now gradually Apple is fixing, and I'm getting a good battery life with this phone. So it's all about the good things with this phone, and we discussed about the display, we discussed about the camera, we discussed about the design and all. Now talking about some of the features or some of the missing features, or some of the features I don't like in this iPhone 11, or it's kind of not with respect to iPhone 11 or 11 Pro, it's with all iPhones. First thing first is the limitation of iOS. If you guys are using iPhone, then you definitely must be knowing that that problem is that this phone doesn't have a proper file manager where you cannot transfer a data properly to any other phone. I know that is a limitation of iOS because Apple doesn't want to give that flexibility with your phone. But if you compare to Android, definitely you will be getting that freedom in your phone that you can transfer any music file or any photos to whoever you want. But here you are not getting that flexibility. Again, transferring the data from this phone to my PC, that is another problem. Again, I have to go through that iTunes and all. I have to do all the process, and then only the data will be transferred. I know there are some of the applications like AirDroid or some other third-party application, but why I want to use that? If I'm getting this phone for this price, then definitely this flexibility should be there. Next thing is the split screen. As I was using the Galaxy Note 8 as my primary phone, it's having a big display where I can easily use that split screen to use multiple applications at the same time, which this phone doesn't have. You don't have a split screen functionality in iPhone. We are in 2020 now, it's almost 2019 December and we are in 2020, where still we don't have a we don't have a split screen functionality in iOS 13. Apple should listen to it and Apple should work on this to give the split screen functionality in these phones. Even if you are getting the iPhone 11 Pro Max that is having a bigger display, but what is the point of getting that phone if you can't use a multiple application in your phone? That is only to have, you can consume the media or you can consume the YouTube for the bigger screen, but you are not getting the actual benefit of the bigger screen. But that is the multiple application or multitasking. Yeah, multitasking, talking about the multitasking and all, this phone can handle whatever the application you throw to it, because then you can see these many applications are open now in my phone and I don't have any issue. But as I told, I was using the Samsung phones, and there you are getting the multi-screen and you can minimize one application on the home screen and you can toggle it here and there. So those features I am missing here in Apple ecosystem. That's why after some time again I am using the Galaxy Note 8 as my secondary phone with this as my primary phone. Next thing is the cellular call quality and all. These are brilliant with this phone. Only the thing is that some network reception issue was there in iOS 13 that Apple is fixing gradually. So by the time iOS 14 comes, I hope all the issue will be fixed. So this is a quick video for you guys with that is my experience with this iPhone 11 Pro as my primary phone for 30 days. Hope you like this video, guys, and I'll be making some videos with this iPhone 11 Pro, and I'll share with you guys. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you like this video. If you do, then please subscribe to my channel and I'll catch you in the next one.